We are live coming to you from Jersey. What's going on, guys? Balo CQ here.
Cassandra Lee and Power Couple.
And welcome to the Power Couple Show.
Look, man, this is the first one ever. So if you are watching this, congratulations to you. You are going to see this show launch from where it's at to where it's going to my Yeah, we're pumped up.
Yeah, it's always exciting to be part of something before it blows up. You know, earlier this morning, I was actually talking to my father-in-law, and we were just talking about like how awesome it is to watch people go from, you know, where they are to all of a sudden explode, right? Watching the growth. It's always great to see that. And the cool thing is that you guys are going to witness this show go from where it's at now
to the
a whole
explosion.
other level, right?
Absolutely.
And we absolutely 100% believe that.
Absolutely, you know, and we just want to welcome all of our audiences from whether you're watching this online, if you're watching it from, podcast on iTunes, if you're watching it from, or listening to it rather, right? Wherever you are in the world and you're listening to it on SoundCloud, watching it on YouTube, Vimeo, whatever it is, we just want to welcome you and say, what up?
Yeah. You know, so we started this show for a couple of things, right? We started the show because one, a lot of people have been always approached us to say, man, you guys should have your own show. You guys are so entertaining, man.
Yeah.
Do that whole Power Couple thing again, right? We started the show also for
people out there who just, you know, are intrigued on what it's like to kind of work with your partner, right? The challenges we go through. So we're kind of just going to have this show to show the vulnerable side to us. You know what I mean? We're going to let it all out there. So the different topics you guys are going to explore with us are, love and sex, and you're going to experience challenges, communication, finances. How do we run our business together? What do we fight about? Just all these different things. And then how to keep this connection strong and long lasting. And so this is mainly for all the different power couples out there in the world. This is for you, this is for you guys. And those of you looking to have
significant other, right?
To become that power couple.
A power couple, right?
Yeah.
And no, you don't need a significant other to start taking action right now in your life and getting to the next level,
or
right?
To start learning these principles.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to wait. These principles are something we kind of stumbled upon along the way, and just to give it back to you is gonna be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of trial and error, right? So we're just gonna give it to you raw. We're gonna give it to you right now.
A lot of black guys involved.
Yeah, a lot of black guys, right? I mean, she is a karate woman, right? She just karate chops me every time I don't listen or whatever. But no, look, today's topic, it's gonna be very interesting. I think it's gonna get some people upset. Some people are going to be like, really? I never saw it that way. And we're just going to bring it to you, right? Because I believe it's a powerful concept. And what's the topic about today?
Well, one thing that we get asked tons of times, is you guys do everything together?
Everything?
Like everything?
No, everything.
Like you guys do everything together?
Yes, maybe. Maybe all, maybe.
Like everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And you know what? We get this, right? And normally when people ask us this, they're like, oh, well, let me sit you down here. Let me tell you something, right? And they try to,
you guys are going to get bored.
Yeah, you guys are going to get bored of each other. You guys are not going to get it. You guys are going to fall out of love. And
don't you get sick of each other?
And look, listen, it's good now, but what about later? And,
I mean, can you really determine the future? All these different
all of
things.
These things that honestly we think is just a bunch of
bullcrap,
garbage, right? And here's the reason why, right? Because a lot of people normally say. Actually, I was actually reading here early this morning, and it's a blog topic from I think Dr. Nerd or something. I have no idea if that's 100% right, but for some reason my phone's acting up, so I can't even open it up, right? But it says 5 ways. I think the blog article is like 5 ways that relationships don't work, right? And one of them happens to be.
I needed my touch.
Oh, thank you. That's what it was, right? And 5 ways was the fact that the togetherness, right? Having too much togetherness, right? What do you think about that?
Too much togetherness. I don't think there's such thing personally. I mean, it's not like I don't get sick of him. There are times where I'm just like, can you just go away for a second,
Yeah, a little bit. And sometimes in the same way, too.
Yeah. He gives me the cold shoulder every once in a while.
Leave me alone.
I just can't talk to you right now. But we learned how to communicate that rather than pushing each other away,
Yeah.
But I think it's because we're so together that our relationship has gotten so much stronger.
Absolutely.
We accomplished so much more.
No, absolutely.
You know?
And I honestly, I think we have fallen in love with each other even more, right?
Yeah.
The reason why is because, I mean, look, why would you not want to be together with your couple, right?
I mean, isn't that why you get married, to be together?
Exactly, right? I mean, spending less time with each other, right, leaves a gap to grow apart, right? And when you start growing apart, what happens? What happens is exactly what you don't want to happen. But it's going to happen if you're not spending time with each other, right? Another reason, which I believe a lot of people sometimes don't really understand it, is simply because a lot of people are not going after their dreams. A lot of people are not, they don't have one vision, one dream. So therefore, they're building two things separately. And yeah, when you start looking at it that way, it makes sense to not be with each other because you both have different agendas.
Yeah.
But what happens when you have different agendas? What happens when you start building separately?
You grow apart. Most of the times, that's what happens, is that you grow apart. Now, it's cool if one is doing something and the other one is doing something all towards the same vision. That's fine. But think about it like this, guys. Think of like a chain, right? Can you imagine if you have a chain from the ceiling and you tried to hang something really heavy from it, right? Like a bag, like a punching bag, right? And you tell the chains, guys, you're two together. You're two together. You need to separate yourselves just a little bit. You actually tell the chain that. So you have these chains, right, like this. And you imagine if they decided that they do need to be a little bit more separate. They're two together. They're too much together all the time. What do you think is going to happen to that bag? It's going to collapse, right? The chains no longer become strong. They're no longer a solid foundation to hold anything, okay? That's the same thing in a relationship here, right, babe? If we are so much together, right, this is how we're going to be able to withhold anything that comes our way. This is how we're going to be able to carry everything that we need in order to go for our vision. It's how we become tighter, stronger. Gaps make it what? Weaker. That's just a principle for life, for anything.
No, absolutely. I completely agree with you. You know, I'll never forget, actually. Do you remember, I remember, what I used to do a lot in the beginning, right? When we first started dating, is that every time I would get angry or mad or upset or frustrated, right? Normally, right, what men normally do, right? I mean, not everyone, some people out there are a little weird, right? But normally what I used to do is I used to actually kind of just walk away, like just not even walk away telling her anything. I was just kind of like, just give her the cold shoulder and then just kind of run away, right?
And
like
as
a little girl.
women, we know we hate that, right? We want to just sit down, talk about it right now, please.
Yeah.
You know.
And I'm just trying to gather everything up. I'm trying to like just be very analytical with everything, right? Trying to figure out why did the argument start. So I need my own time to think about these things. But then we actually were introduced to some awesome books, right? That I believe that if you're listening to this, you're watching this, right? You should go ahead and pick it up because I think it's very good. In the book, right? The book actually was called what is it called? I think
for him and for her.
Yeah, it was like these two books, right? It's the coolest thing in the world, right? It's like the cover is of a girl like and her head is down, and that's the book for him.
Yeah,
right. Because
it's like a married couple, and the husband wrote about how women operate, and the wife wrote about how men operate, and it teaches you, why men like to do that. Why do they like to like walk away from everything? If you keep pressing Siri, that's the problem here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He's like, Siri, come and join us in this conversation.
Come on, Siri.
But seriously, and we had to learn how to actually communicate that whole cold shoulder thing, because it's not like I didn't do that to him, but
exactly,
we had to communicate it. And I remember he started applying what he learned, and it was like, baby, I love you.
I remember that.
I just can't talk to you right now.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, for sure.
And because I understood that was how, he operates, I had to accept at first that moment, even though it just like killed me. Just like, please, let's just talk, I had to say, okay, well, I love you too. When you're ready, come, let's talk, And then every now and then he understood that I wanted to talk, right? So he would then say, okay, I'm going to talk. He would bite his own tongue instead of walking away and talk. One thing that I realized, God, you want to?
No, go ahead. I mean, and we're not perfect at all, right? I mean, we're just like you guys, right? Trying to get it together here, right? But one thing that we always focus on, right? Here's what happens, right? If you guys are taking notes or whatever, I think this is great, right? Because normally when we're getting into a heated discussion, right? Normally you both want the same thing,
It
right?
is.
So this is something called chunking down, right? So when you start arguing with people, right, you start going down to the details, into this, into that. You should have done that. You should have done this. If you did that, blah, 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 right? And when you start chunking down, the argument starts getting heater and heater, and nothing gets accomplished, right? But if you start chunking up, right, and you start becoming more abstract, which is the bigger picture, instantly the argument is done. Instantly you can say, look, listen, what do we both want?
We want the same thing, right?
So what the heck are we arguing for?
Let's just keep moving forward.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not gonna be like that all the time. Maybe she might throw a punch at you.
But
and
literally,
I'm just
that
running around.
actually happened one time. We were actually in a heated discussion, and I was just like, whoa, 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 whoa. Don't we want the same thing?
Exactly. You want
So
the
let's
same
just keep
thing.
going forward. And literally, the argument just stopped. It just stopped,
It
right?
just gets killed, right?
Completely.
It's a good tip, right? That you guys should take notes on.
Absolutely. So let's talk about, the other big one, right? Which is, how do you determine the future? Aren't you guys going to get bored from like doing the same thing all the time with each other?
Yeah.
Like,
Let's see what this guy says, right? It's from his blog. It's drnerdlove.com, and he wrote an article about togetherness, right? And he says one of the things that he mentions in this article is that if you spend too much time with your soulmate, with your significant other, they're gonna turn more into a roommate rather than your partner. What do you think about that? And do you believe that's true? Do you believe it's not true? And what do you think? What way do you think he's trying to go at? Like,
well, I mean, I think that everyone has this, belief that, being too close to each other is just a horrible thing. And I think that's totally weird. I think it's weird. This is what I think.
Well,
here's
what I think too, right?
Yeah.
I think that when you have not made a full commitment, right? Like, obviously this goes for two things, right? So when you haven't made a full commitment and you're not married, or you're not in the process of like getting married, or your fiance and all that stuff, and you're still kind of in the dating game and the boyfriend and girlfriend, right? And you're like too close all the time, right? It's not that it's a bad thing, but normally the other person has not really made a commitment. Or, I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, look,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I remember telling you, like on one of our first dates, I was like, why relationships don't
I'll
work?
never forget this. This is probably the best date ever. And it was because that was the day that she got me to start thinking.
You know what's crazy though? It's like, who would say this on a first date? Any normal person would run, right? I don't know what I was thinking. I would never say
I was a little
first
scared.
date.
My hands are sweaty. My heart was pumping a little bit.
I was like, I'm literally on the first date. I was like, why relationships don't work? And he's like, why? And I'm like, well, because, one person commits more than the other. And I'm like, what if you decide to put my feelings before yours, and I decide to put your feelings before mine? Shouldn't this work? Like, how could it not work? And he's like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. And I'm like, yeah, so let's do this. You know what I mean? If you just commit to just put your feelings aside and just keep his, or vice versa, there's no way that you can't find some common ground. But going back to this comment here, this is how I think of it. If we are constantly together, I think that people separate the difference between, spouse and like friend and roommate and partner. Like, they're all separate. And to me, it's like all one thing. Like,
oh, that's good. That's good.
Like, what's the difference between a roommate and a partner? Like, it's the same thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm living with you and you and I have committed to just fighting for whatever it is that we want, no matter what, this guy is not only my husband, and I respect him as my husband, but he's also my best friend.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, my ride or die. He's my homie. He's my roommate. I don't care what you want to call it. Sure, he's a roommate. I don't care. But there's still a respect that we have as husband and wife, but we still have that, friendship, that let's hang out. Let's go watch a game. Let's go do this. It doesn't even matter. It's like people think that you treat friends completely differently than you would treat your husband or wife, Look, it's all the same compassion that you should have,
Yeah.
And the fact that he's my husband and he's my best friend and we can do everything together, it's like a win-win. Literally, right? We go out and we're like, yo, like, you're like my best friend.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's awesome.
That's awesome. No, I mean, that's a great way to look at it. Sometimes we kind of like put separate things into different categories, when in reality, I mean, why not be everything?
Just everything.
So here's something that he does mention that I believe is very valid, I think, right? And he mentioned something about how if you guys have to have some time, a way of releasing expressing yourself out, expressing yourself in a way where it kind of allows, because I mean, let's be honest, right? I mean, sometimes there's a little bit of frustrations that build up, or a little annoyance, right?
Yeah, I just want to kick you sometimes.
So how would you tell anyone who's watching this, right? Oh man, she wants to kick me. That's not good. Especially from her. When she's gonna, this girl can kick hard, man. Like, she kicks really hard.
Anyway.
Right. And anyways, so how would you tell anyone out there who's watching this, when frustration does build up, what would be a way to, how do we normally express that
frustration,
and we let go of that? Yeah,
I think the best way is just to be honest, open, and transparent. And I learned this from Bishop David Cooper, right? I was actually on a flight, and I ended up, I mean, I don't want to tell the whole story, it's a long story, but I ended up sitting next to this bishop, and the entire ride, I forgot where we were going, but the entire ride, he's just, teaching me principles and concepts about relationships, whether with your spouse or your family or your friends, whatever it is.
Oh, this is really good, by the way.
And he talked about how every relationship needs to be hot, and he explained it, the acronym: honest, open, and transparent. So this is definitely from him. I got this from him. And
write that down. If you're taking notes, honest, open, and transparent.
Honest,
right?
Open, and transparent. And oh man, he was awesome when he talked about it. And he basically shared how, you want anything to work, you just got to be an open book. So he gave the example of, let's say Thanksgiving's coming up, which actually it is.
Yes, some turkey, and some sweet potato,
and let's say I'm like,
pie.
I tell him, we're gonna go spend it at, my family's house, and he just goes, well, I don't want to spend it there. Just imagine he said it, right? Now, I can either take it like, man, you don't like my family. What is wrong with you? You never want to spend time with my family. Like, we could turn it into a big heated discussion.
Which normally happens.
Not
in our relationship, right? Because, I mean, we do our best to try to apply what we're sharing with you.
Right. And then but then really he may say, no, that's not it. That's not it. But I might be going off on this tangent. Like, you are just so selfish and blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
I could go off on this like big argument. When really he finally calms me down and says, no, it's not that. It's just that I really want to have our first family Thanksgiving. That's all. And that's in innocent intention. It has nothing to do with my family or anything, right? And if we learn how to just really listen and just be honest and open and transparent with one another, it's a lot easier to deal with things. Now, if I'm really frustrated, I have to have the guts to tell him what I'm frustrated about, but he needs to also be prepared to receive that, right? And at the same time, it's a two-way conversation. It should never be, man, I'm just so frustrated because of you. He has to be able to, I have to hear why he may do that, and we have to come up with some type of common ground, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is something I'm still getting better at, okay? Because sometimes I do tend to have a one-way street with my wife here, right?
Which I can't stand.
Yeah, and it's sometimes like when we're having conversations, right? Here's what gets me, right? I don't really understand it, and I'm trying to understand it at this moment. Like, we're both like, she's talking, I'm talking, and then like I want to have like a back and forth conversation, but I guess when we're arguing or whatever, right? If I say something, it's like,
this is what I can't stand, right?
Like,
okay.
She's like, you see, there you go again, talking. I'm like, hold on, I'm trying to add to this conversation. I'm trying to have a common ground here.
Hold on.
You see, that's what I mean. I'm like, what? I'm trying to figure this out too.
No.
I need to ask questions.
I like having like, okay, if I need to get something off my chest, let me talk completely till I get that off my chest. And then you can tell me your 2 cents. But what he does is, in the middle of me talking about my full feelings and I'm not yet done, he'll interrupt me trying to give me an explanation. Like, I don't need the explanation yet. I want you to get the whole picture.
Notice what she said. Pay attention.
Yeah.
I'm trying to have him understand my feelings.
Yeah.
Which means that women don't need you to solve their problems, right? Even though sometimes we're like, oh, that's easy. Just do this. What the heck, It's
like he tries to give me a full explanation without having the full story. And I'm like, dude, you can't do that yet. Like, you don't have the full the full understanding of it. And so until I give you everything, then you can try and explain yourself, right? And that's the only thing. But it has to be a two-way street. No interruptions. hear the other person out. And this can be hard. I mean, it's not like we're perfect. Like we said, we do this all the time. I'll talk over him. He'll talk over me. But there has to be that moment where
she's pretty good. She's got a
minute.
lot better. I, on the other hand, need to get better.
And just like, wait a minute. Hold on. We can't keep doing this, I think that the more, look, you're going to fall. In a relationship, you're going to fall. But it's how fast you're going to get up. And that's what you have to think about. We're going to fight, but how fast are we going to fix the fight? That's more important. That's more important.
Yep.
And just have fun about it. I mean, I can't tell you, like, I was always like the lovable person, right? I remember when I was, I was having a conversation with my aunt I don't remember when, but she was saying how, like, I was always the, like, peacemaker, that if the adults were fighting in the house, I would run into the room, right? I don't even remember doing this, but I was really little. I'd run into the room and I would just say, guys, stop fighting, right? I don't know. I would just do something like that. And I've always
now she
felt
just
that
comes
way.
into the room and she karate chops everything.
No, I'm just kidding. No, he's kidding. He's kidding. Anyway, no, but like I've always had that in me. So it's like, and I don't care who I argue with, right? I want to end it with, I love you.
Yeah, she does.
Because I don't want, something can happen the next 5 minutes and it's just weird. Now I want everyone to know that I love them regardless. I love you. You know?
Yeah. She has a big heart and you can appreciate that.
You have a big heart too, babe.
I know. We both have big hearts.
Anyway.
Sometimes she's better at showing it.
No.
We both are.
You are.
Yeah.
I think you're the sensitive one.
Yeah, I am a little sensitive. I normally cry.
He cries about everything.
I do. I get so passionate, man.
I'll be like, babe, you look so good. He's like, really?
No, she's going too far now. She's going too far. So, guys, I think we're just about hitting our 30 minutes here, guys. And we just want to say thank you for joining us, right? Make sure you guys, we do this every single
day. Every
right?
day, guys. We're gonna be here talking about different topics. So you are more than welcome to join us. Hey, follow us on Instagram at the Cassandra Lee or at the Power Couple. _ wait, no, I forgot.
Hey, we'll get that stuff squared out, right? But guys, just follow us, right? If you're watching this right now, just remember, come back here next week, right? Add us on Facebook.
We'll have all of our social media on
we'll
the
have
site
all this
here.
stuff done in a second, right? We just decided to just throw the show up, right? So we can get it up and running just for you guys. So see you guys tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. a.m. Eastern, right? And
That's
next
family time.
Yeah, no, it is.
8:30
It is family time. Yeah. So, guys, we'll see you guys tomorrow, man. And tomorrow we're going to have an awesome topic for you. We're going to be talking about 5 things that ruin relationships, which I think is going to be a great thing to talk about, right? Especially if you're in a relationship or you're looking to get in one, or maybe you might be going through some stuff in your relationship that you have no idea that you're going through, right? And we're just pumped up and we're excited.
Maybe we'll make you more aware, and we'll just talk about how we handle these 5 things, guys. Yeah. We love you so much. Again, this is
Paulo CQ.
And I'm Cassandra Lee, and together we are the Power Couple.